All right, Matt Gannon, Jers, we are back. Mexico Open week.
Huge week.
Nope, no boots this week. We should have been down there at Vedanta World now. It's no longer just Vedanta, it's Vedanta World.
Yeah, I mean, if you sent me out there for a boots trip, I probably would have ended up having like too much fun on the lit par 3 course, and like I think there's a roller coaster out there, so it might not have been an efficient boots week. So maybe it's better off we just cancel that one for the future.
Do you think it's still Vedanta World if Tony's not there with his family to play the lighted par 3 course?
People are definitely asking that, but I mean, I feel like this course or these Mexico or resort courses change their names regularly, just new sponsors or like new terminology on the course itself. So I can't keep track, but it's Vedanta World now, so it's kind of a vibey title. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if without Tony there, I'm not sure it counts as the
Right.
official Mexico Open this week, but we'll see. We'll get to that soon enough.
I mean, he's still my one and done pick. Like, I don't care if he's not in the field. He's my one
Yeah,
and done pick.
yeah, I've got him locked in on one and done as well. He'll still probably finish top 10, even though he's not playing.
Easily.
He was top 10 at Torrey Pines, Jers, and I will say I'm gonna bring the best, strokes gained dog. We're blue collar podcasters. I'm not gonna be down in the dumps. I personally am as disappointed, or not disappointed is not the right word. I'm as just sad about what took place yesterday on the golf course as a Mav McNeely supporter as I think I can. I've been trying to think. I honestly haven't felt this just annoyed. I can't think of anything that happened last year. It's been a long time. You were on the other side, so I don't want to take away any of your glory. The luck was with you yesterday, not with me. But just to start it off, I must say, sadness in my heart for what took place yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have it outright that firmly in the mix, 2-man race, just playing so phenomenal, and it doesn't go your way, it hurts. I mean, I've been on that side too. We talk about it all the time. Like losing an outright golf bet in that fashion is one of the worst feelings like you can get as a bettor. So I feel you, but it was an unbelievable call on Maverick. Truly one of the greatest rounds I've ever seen. It was on pace for Cam Tringale Scottish Open round 1, and he just took his foot off the gas late, and it didn't go his way. But I mean, props to Mav. How are you feeling on Mav? Are you like? I saw your write up. You were like, it's one more time. If he mixes, I'm in. If he doesn't mix, I think I'm out. So obviously he mixed, showed some heart. But what's your overall thoughts on Mav?
Yeah. Like I said, we'll give Lud his fair due and your call a fair due here in a second. The reason it was so frustrating was because I didn't go into the day expecting to have somebody really mixing. For background on this, we do the Sunday sweats graphic up on Twitter going into each Sunday to see who we've got in the mix. And we were texting because I texted you on Saturday. At the end of the day, I said Mav has earned his way onto the sweat chart. And we had kind of set a rule before the season we were going to do if a guy was like below 20-1 odds or something like that, that would get them onto the sweat chart. However, I think I was on Max a couple years ago and he came from 5 back at Torrey. Just going into the final round at Torrey, if you're within 5-6 shots of the lead, especially when it's Patrick Rogers and Denny McCarthy out front, You're like, anybody could get in the mix. You got to get off to a fast start, start mixing. Mav gets off to that fast start. So it was almost like one of those where if he'd have shot 80 and never had a chance, I would have felt nothing yesterday. I'd already accepted that I didn't really have anybody in the mix. It is what it is. Had an outside chance, and then he instantly gets into the mix. He was like 250-1, I think, at one point on either Friday or Saturday. Basically 0% chance winning the tournament. Gets all the way down to minus 500 when he's in the fairway on 14. Takes like a half swing with a wedge, and that's when I started to get really nervous. I'll admit, I knew Lud was winning as soon as he hit the fairway on 14 or on 13. That's when I was like, it's over.
Oh,
he was 4 shots behind. I knew he was going to get there in 2. I figured he'd probably make an eagle. But yeah, my devastation comes more from the fact that, like, what's the point? Like, why did you have to do that? Just shoot 70, have a nice, maybe there's a couple holes where I think you've got a chance, you don't have a chance. Like, why did we need to do all that? Make all those birdies, play 10 and 11, 2 under, almost birdie 12, playing generational
12 was nuts.
I have no beef with Mav because, like, I never really thought he was going to win. It's Mav. Like, deep down, I never really felt that strongly about it. But for that all to happen and then him not win, that's like the most frustrating part.
Yeah, he got you like all the way to the build up and then never made it through. But him on 12 was just such a crazy that stretch was insane. Like everyone was struggling at that point. Yeah, he took to like 13 feet on 12, nearly makes the putt, almost plays that stretch 3 under, which is just incredible. And just what he was doing tee to green on the front nine, like he started off like you were typing in the chat. He was just hitting off the planet and hitting generational iron shots out of that thick rough. I don't know how he hit it so close. He was just probably hitting and hoping, and it ended up where it was. But a great iron performance. That just shows how confident Maverick is with his ball striking. Just swing as hard as I can, and it'll end up somewhat where I want it to end up. And it turned out that way. And then he got a little wishy on 14, like you said, with that half wedge swing, which was I perked up a little bit because obviously I had Ludwig, and I was like, all right, like it's Maverick or nothing right here. And he had that bad swing, ended up making a bogey. And I was like, this is unlike what we just saw. So, and then what happened. But shout out Maverick. I was just an unreal performance on a golf course that no one else was doing anything like that.
Yeah. We use the word generational a lot. And from holes 1 to, one, he made like a 40-footer for par. And then from there on out, until about 14.
Did he really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he made a 40. He missed it right on 1, and then like had to hack out to like 40 feet and made it, and then that started the heater. But like I said, no beef with Mav. You know,
shout out par on 17 though. Unreal save on 17.
Well, terrible break. He was intentionally hitting it over the gallery.
I figured he was doing that
and hit.
Did he confirm that?
Yeah, he did. Which was I was like, I don't know why. I get it, kind of. You take the left miss completely out of play, but like he was generationally driving, and that was a birdie hole from the fairway, as we saw. Lud almost made the birdie there, but yeah, Mav, second on approach, first in putting. That usually wins you the tournament. It beat everybody else except Ludwig. Finally, Ludwig does something sick. It took him a long time because it was a classic Ludwig performance until the last 6 holes. You were on him. You saw him at Boots. Give me your take on his win, what you thought about it, how you felt throughout the week, and how it sets him up going forward into the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, I definitely think that was one of the best like 4-day sweats for an outright winner that I've ever had. It was just because Torrey South in those conditions is an absolute grind. There's no event where you sweat fairways hole by hole like you do with this event. Like I'm just checking the app, like prank fairway, and then he's either in and it's happy or out and it's devastation. And what he did over the weekend with the driver was not great. He was kind of all over the place with the driver. He reeled it in down the stretch, which was the truest form of dog he's ever shown. Like we've shit on Ludwig for a while. He's been in these.
Can we say one thing on that? And obviously, everything I say about the Torrey should be actually ignored because I'm so annoyed by what took place. But on the driving point down the stretch, his ball on 15 missing the rough line by an inch. Like he thought it was in the rough. He kind of he
leaned over. Yep.
Yeah. He thought it was going left. That if that goes in the rough left, probably maybe bogey. Definitely not birdie. Maybe like an outside chance at birdie. But I would say being in that intermediate
no chance of birdie. No chance.
Was like I'm not saying he deserving winner. I'm just saying on the driving piece specifically, that's that game of inches that decides who wins the tournament. Because Mav gets that kick off somebody's leg and then he can't go for the green on 17. Lud lands it an inch inside the rough line, which set up that birdie, and then he makes a great putt, which ultimately kind of I think was the difference maker.
Yeah, I mean he was driving it like poorly, like the all weekend, but that one included, that one got the break, but he hit some really good drives down the stretch to set him up for like 13 and 18, like on the green in 2, must make birdies on those par 5s, and he got the job done. Like the drive on 18 was hilarious when they showed the red dot so far down the middle of the fairway. I was like,
he almost hit it too far because then he had no club to hit into 18.
Yeah.
And like it seemed like they were really between clubs there because he basically played a banana slice with must have been 3 wood.
Did you see what he was a 7 wood. Did you see what he did on his approach shot on 18 on Saturday?
When he hit it left?
He hit it left, but unless the shot tracer was so wrong, it was a massive banana slice
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe he was trying. It was like so far left. Like I looked at my friend, I was like, "This cannot be real." Obviously, didn't get up and down, but I do agree. They probably were a little bit in between clubs because he definitely could have gotten there with a longer iron, but he wanted to just take short out of play. 100%. He hit it to the top of the green. He smirked. He knew that was going to be a tough putt, but got it down to 2 and got the win.
We always say this when we go to Boots, that the most impressive thing to watch is not guys hitting driver like 320 down the middle, because enough guys nuke it off the tee now and hit it so straight that it's like, yeah, there's a difference between watching Rory drive or
Yeah.
Ludwig drive. But like, you're kind of like, okay, I get it. Watching guys hit woods off the fairway into the greens, to me, is just the most stunning thing to watch, because the green looks so far away when they're hitting in from like 270 or whatever it is. But both Lud and Mav on 13, we didn't show Lud's approach into 13, but I
Mav's
imagine,
shot on 13 was insane.
but like the fact that all they have to do on that hole, because a lot of the days they weren't able to get there because they had the tee back, but they had moved the tees forward, which I think the setup overall at Torrey, we've been Torrey guys through and through. I think we are vindicated. I don't know how you could be out on Torrey when it presents a tournament like that. Always great leaderboards, always great finishes. Everybody knows the holes. Everybody knows what you're signing up for. I love it. But 13, they couldn't get there. But they moved the tee up a little bit to give the guys a chance. And all it takes for them to be able to get there is being 280 in the fairway to a green that's like, I mean, you were there. It like goes down and then it slopes back.
Yeah.
The target is tiny. And they just stripe it dead straight. Same on 9. Like they're 280 out, and they are surprised and disappointed when they don't leave it on the apron, or like Cantlay hit that amazing shot into 9. The way they hit their woods into par 5s is legitimately a joke.
No, it's always great to watch. And as a generational 3-wood player myself, I really do go out my way and look for those. Like Xander Schauffele, hole 7 Travelers. Do you know what I'm talking about? One of the greatest shots we've ever seen. So yeah, I love watching guys like hit woods different shapes into par 5s.
You had a write up in the Boots report on Gary Woodland potentially hitting a shot that was better than or equal to Joaco, and we'll get to LIV in a second. At Troon, what did you see from Gary, and could you describe?
Yeah, he was in one fairway, and it wasn't like, one's not a massive long iron. It's probably a middle iron for most guys. And it was on Wednesday was when it was really bad weather, and he was in the middle of the fairway, probably like a 7 iron, hit one no more than head high that just had so much forward spin or backspin, and just it rose. It was like the coolest shot I've ever seen. Put it to like 15 feet, and I was like, that alone almost had me. I'm just single bulleting Gary. I ended up watching him more and more, and it wasn't pretty, but that shot definitely rivaled what we saw from Joaco at Troon. It was just unreal.
What did you see from Lud in the Boots report? I know we talked about it on. I think we talked about Lud a little bit on the Tuesday pod. What did you? I can't remember. What did you see from Lud?
Yeah, I this is exactly what I said when we talked about Lud on the podcast. I said, drop a comment below if you would buy a shirt that said Vincerix on the front and generational stripes on the back with the X player, because that is what I saw from Ludwig, generational stripes, and that was my Lud take for the week.
I think this is the thing about doing what we do is like the line between a good take and a bad take is legitimately like sometimes a razor edge, because I think what I said right after that, because I knew you were going to bet Lud basically the whole time, and I wasn't out on Lud. I figured he would play good, but I thought ultimately the reason he wouldn't win is he would miss just a few too many short putts, and that would cost him the difference between.
He tried to.
And he legitimately did. Like he basically
First 2
did.
days, he missed, I think, 5 inside 5.
Yeah, he was negative 1.7 putting the first round. He was positive the second round, barely positive the third, and then he putted good in the final round. But yeah, and then it's like, Mav gains infinity strokes putting, almost wins. Like the fine line between a great take and a cold take exposed. That's cold take exposed. He made just enough short putts to win. But I was just thinking when you said that's what you said about Lud, I remembered that's what I said about Lud.
Yeah, I remember that.
So State of the Union on Lud Dog, because this is a topic that we discuss considerably on here. You obviously, like I said, I'm biased because I'm still in pain. I'm still in. It hasn't been 24 hours. It's like the football coaches always say we're going to spend 24 hours reflecting on what Mav withdrew from Mexico. I kind of want to withdraw from Mexico in as well. But State of the Union on Ludwig Dog, I will say it was sick what he did the final 6 holes, and I'm going to present you like a trial. I'm going to give you everything, and then you let me know what you think. Last few holes was sick. There was a variety of extremely questionable dog moments throughout the weekend. Even on Sunday, blew it left into the hazard. Didn't get up, and like the number of just the rushing like he did. I thought he rushed on Saturday on 18 out of the bunker. Got a little too cute there. There was a variety of moments that were like vintage Lud, low dog. He was up against Mav McNeely, Patrick Rogers, and Denny McCarthy. Scottie was there, obviously, but we were not in peak Scottie yet. But this is the marquee win that we've been looking for. Signature event Lud. We talked about the roller coaster when he won Torrey a few weeks ago. Then he was sick, withdrew down to the bottom. Now we're on the way back up. We've gone up. We've gone down. We're now back up again. State of the Union on Ludwig Dog. And where should we plug him into the dog rankings? Because he deserves to come back in, but I need to know what number you think he belongs at.
Okay, great question. And I was texting with some buddies like on Sunday who were sweating Ludwig, and they were ecstatic when he birdied 2, birdied 3, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, those are great birdies, but just gear up. It's going to be a grind. Like that middle on what was it, 4, 5, 6 when he missed those short putts, or something 4, 5, 6. They were all really pissed off. I'm like, this is Torrey South. There's going to be a ton of mistakes. There's going to be ups and downs, but like we're in a great spot. We're a few back. We're in the mix. Just keep pedal down, play patient. And he obviously did that. So I knew there was going to be bad moments in that Sunday round in that week because everyone was having bad moments. It's Torrey South, and he got through them, ended up winning. So I'm not knocking points for him missing those short putts, having a few bad swings because they're tough swings. It's a tough golf course. I think in terms of the dog rankings, he should be around, like I would say middle of the pack and like maybe low 20s for now.
Let me give you a few guys. You tell me if he should be above or below these guys, and we'll get him dialed in right now. Live on the pod, we're gonna get Ludwig's dog ranking. So you said low 20s. Here's a perfect guy to compare him against. Fellow young stud. Now both 2-time PGA Tour winners. Nick Dunn is number 27 right now in the dog rankings. Lud, if Lud and Nick Dunn are tied going to the back 9 at the Masters this year.
I'd go 28. Ludwig 28.
Right behind Nick Dunn. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. Okay. So Ludwig's back in the dog rankings. He's number 28. He's right behind Nick Dunn, who was in the mix there for a while. And we'll talk a little bit more down the board, Torrey, here in a second. We'll talk a little bit of LIV, because I was also second place on LIV this week, Jers. Tough week for me. Tough week for BK. Yeah. We were in this together. Runner-up finishes on both tours. That happens. But I will say, we've talked about this before. I think you've experienced it. I've experienced it. Sometimes your best winners come after your darkest week. You just experienced it with Spawn and Sepp, right? You got it. Got it right back.
Yeah, tough loss with Spawn, and Sepp got us a win.
So get over to the site. We're going to be bouncing back this week, or you're going to be continuing on. I'm going to be looking for the bounce back this week. We've got the DP. We've got the Magical Kenya Open this week, Jers. Vince was despondent this week when I told him that there was going to be no DP, fresh off of his great card in the Cuddy Masters. I told him, he was like, where do I submit my picks for the DP? And I had to explain to him they don't play every week. He was not happy about it. He wants to have a word with the DP World Tour leadership, and I told him so do we. We've talked about a million times our issues with the DP World Tour schedule. That's going to be up on the site. But if you're listening to the pod, watching on YouTube, another great Boots week. Jers finds the winner out at Torrey Pines. I get the runner-up out there. If you enjoyed the content, if it was helpful for you in any way, shape, or form, toss a like on there, toss a subscribe up there on YouTube. And then, if you want that next level of detail, we've got the DP this week. We've got the Mexico Open up on the site this week. LIV will return soon enough. $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. And I believe we're just going to have one lonesome week without Boots, Jers, because Florida swing. is ahead of us. You're a Florida guy. You do have boots this week, but it's at TGL. What's the status of boots as we head to the Florida Swing and TGL this week?
Yeah, the boots could settle down, but we just keep the pedal down and we keep going. We'll have TGL boots today, TGL boots tomorrow. See how the guys are doing. Say what's up to them, and then we're off to the Honda Classic, the Cognizant Classic, and then the rest of the Florida Swing.
I have a question that you should ask Lud in the press conference.
Okay.
You should ask him, because the leaderboard for basically the only guys who had a chance to win outside of Scottie, with about basically from an hour into the coverage on in, was legendary Stanford golfers, Maverick McNeely, Patrick Rogers, UCLA star and California home game, Patrick Cantlay. And the question for Lud is, do you think that being a part of the Bay Golf Club and San Francisco being your hometown allowed you to compete with the other California specialists, Patrick Rogers, Maverick McNeely, and Patrick Cantlay?
That is an unbelievable question. I will do my best to try and bring that up.
I think like I've said this a million times, I've been a little bit of a Lud hater, but it's never been about him, like his personality. He's a nice guy. He's funny. Like, I like him as a person. I think, would most people probably get mad at you for asking that question? Yes. Would Lud think it's kind of funny? Also, yes. I think he would. I think you'd get a chuckle out of Lud from that question.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
You'd also then have to explain to him, and actually, this is the most important question. What are the live standings for the Stanford golfer rankings? Because have we ever had a more Stanford situation than Tiger in the booth, Mav playing the greatest round of golf ever played, and Patrick Rogers also mixing? There's a lot of great things that happened to Stanford, but was there a better moment in the history of the entire institution than those 2 hours down the back?
Yeah, and I feel like we just like 2 pods ago we had that like a segment when we ranked the Stanford golfers and said that they could have their own Ryder Cup. Yeah, so I would definitely say, I mean, it's always been Mav 1, Mav, Tiger, PRodge, Roseng, then Carl Phillips.
Where's Celinda at?
Celinda, I think he's got to make some cuts. He's got to make some cuts. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to those guys in Mexico in a second.
Could be a big week for Thorpe, though.
It could be. I think one of those. I think a Stanford golfer wins Mexico. I don't know which one. I might go exclusive Stanford bomber cart, because they know how to teach bomber putter, because they've done the math. They've been crunching the numbers, and they know that driver putter is the most sustainable way.
Dude, all driver putter is actually crazy.
I'm telling you, they know. They've got the algorithms. They've had Vincent for way longer than we have. They know what to do. A few more Torrey thoughts before we get to LIV Adelaide, because I want to give LIV Adelaide its fair due, because we're LIV guys. We've been LIV supporters, and LIV Adelaide was a great event, and we're going to get to it in just a second. I don't want the LIV people to be upset. We talked Lud. I'll tip my cap. I'm wearing my Valhalla cap. I bet Lud at Valhalla. Tipping my cap to Lud. I'm not. I'll give him his due. I said he needs to win a big event. I'm not going to continue on my lack of big event hate. I'm not fully sold yet. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not fully sold yet. Cool, you beat Mav. You beat Patrick Rogers. Let's see it when Scottie's back to peak form. All I'm saying is I saw people signing the Players and the Masters now.
Yeah.
Scottie is winning the Players and the Masters, as far as I'm concerned. Until something like get new information. He was T3 Jers. He played pretty much terrible. He wasn't even lined up to his shots off the tee. His body, they talked about it on the broadcast, because he said in his interview, I think on Friday, that his alignment was off. He looked like his alignment was off. He was standing with his shoulders and his feet facing different directions. He clearly had no idea where the ball was going to go. And he was probably live favorite of the tournament going until there was about 9 holes to go. My State of the Union is with Scottie. He even said so himself. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. We talked about it. We've talked about the last few pods. When Mav was shooting those scores and he wasn't, funny. He's like, the fuck is happening? How is this happening to me? I should be winning every tournament. He has no patience. What? Because like I said,
when he went long left on 14, and he looked at the ground. It was like, there's no way. Like, how is this even possible? And then he obviously hold the bunker shot. It was just, it's so funny when Scottie is just not going well because he's a robot and everything should be perfect to him. So it's great television.
And I love watching too how Ted like tries to talk to him, because you can tell Ted is like, it's like a bomb specialist trying to get like the red and the blue and the green. He wants to be so careful because he knows Scottie is just absolutely furious. But it is fun to watch Scottie when he is not totally dialed. He missed that super short putt on 6, which was the first time. And we always text Scottie with like a bunch of O's when he misses a short putt. Hadn't got to do that in so long. So do you, like I said, I think I even wrote up on why I didn't think he ultimately was going to win this week, was because I think he needs to get back to the Florida swing. This is usually where he doesn't really win the California swing. That's not what he does.
No.
Came in rusty. I think Rampage Scottie starts at Bay Hill here in a few weeks. What's your State of the Union on Scottie?
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine. He spoke with Amanda that he's not all the way there yet. He didn't quite feel like he was all the way in the mix, and little by little he's feeling better. And I think that's 100% true. He'll be fine. I mean, outside of that short putt, he honestly putt pretty damn well this week, and I think the swing is looking all right. I think he will bounce back in a big way come Florida at one of those events for sure.
The Cantlay was honestly who I was most afraid of there for a while, because he started to look like Pat Ice, ran into some trouble on the par 5. But you saw Pat slowly getting it dialed in there during the practice rounds. He's our guy. We love Pat. It was great to see him up there in the mix. I love when we get to see him in a final round mixing. State of the Union on Pat? What
one of the most consistent ball striking weeks he's had? That is a good question. He hit the ball really well, and he hasn't been consistent with the ball striking for a while, and this is one of his better ones. Is he gonna win soon? Pat has not won in so long. I think Pat showed something today that he wanted to win. Like he seemed like he was in the tournament. I mean, I've had to take I don't know how much Pat cares right now, but I mean, it could have just been California Tigers event, big week. I guess we'll see. I'm not going to say Pat's winning soon. I'm going to say wait and see, but good signs for him for sure.
The highlight of the day for Pat, he was already out of it. I guess he could have made eagle and got to -11, but he was on 9 or on 18.
So
Lakava goes, what are you thinking here? And he goes, I'm just going to hit it. And he steps up, puts it in the water by it's probably 10 yards short of where he really needed that shot to be. That was great. That was vintage. Good to see Pat in the mix. And the reason I was most afraid of him is because he had his sweater on. And Pat in a sweater in the final round is intimidating. Didn't quite work out for him. The final guys we need to talk about at Torrey, we're going to talk about them together. Patrick Rodgers, Denny McCarthy, and Tommy Fleetwood. Cheers, because there was a time and a place there for just a moment. I won't even say there was a moment where I was worried about it, but I was thinking about what it would mean if Tommy Dietz and then one of those 3 golfers won. Now, Tommy, he never actually was anywhere close to winning. Tommy was a step below Denny and PRodge this week. But it was overshadowed because of what was taking place with the fact that it was really down to Mav and Lud. And once Lud made that birdie, the tournament was over. One of the darker scenes in PGA Tour history is Patrick Rodgers and Denny McCarthy playing the 18th with absolutely nothing to play for, with 400 combined PGA Tour starts without a win. Was there ever a moment where you thought either of them would win the tournament?
No hate, but no. I don't think anyone really thought that. I will say Denny hung around much longer than I thought he would hang around. Denny had some extraordinary up and downs, and then when the pressure came on Sunday, he could not make a 6-foot putt. And when your name is Denny McCarthy, that can't happen. Patrick Rodgers, one of the most driver putter performance I've ever seen, live. He was striping fairways and hitting the ball far, and was absolutely lost with irons and then just making bombs. He's driver putter. He did his thing, but he could have won, but Patrick Rodgers, it's what are we doing here? And then Tommy, it was the most top 5 Tommy finish maybe of all time. Never had a chance to win. And you see Tommy Fleetwood, T5, great stat line. Just like, there we go, Tommy.
Nothing is more Tommy than he's in like the third to last group or whatever it is. So I think they talk about him, the first couple holes. Then you see no Tommy from about hole 3 to about 15, and then he makes like 3 straight 30-footers, and it's like birdie, birdie, birdie. And next thing you know, Tommy finishes T5. So that was vintage Tommy. Yeah, PRodge stat line 4.4 off the tee, 5.6 with the putter, almost gained 4 around the greens as well, and almost lost 4 on approach. It was the most vintage PRodge performance. But I agree with you on Denny. For some reason, every time I've got a guy like firm mixing, Denny is there too. There's something about
annoying.
Which also usually, and I've talked about this before because he does seem to pop up every time I've got a guy in the mix. Denny's there as well. You have to be afraid every time he's putting from like inside of 50 feet because you think he's going to make it. I didn't feel that yesterday because
I felt that with PRodge though. I did say, I tweeted about PRodge when he was on the green. Like I was like, he could just make everything. California guy, so he knows how to put the po.
But yeah, they should make a montage of PRodge and Denny walking up the 18th fairway because it was.
We can do that.
Content. Absolute scenes there between those two. So that's Torrey. Quickly on LIV Adelaide. I watched most of it because I had Carlos in the mix. He was playing well. Brooks was up there. I had a lot of guys in the mix. None of them won because Joaco pulled away there at the end. We talked about it before the week. Great event. We've said with the way we treat LIV is we shit on it when it should be shit on, and we give credit where credit is due. When the tours combine, whenever this happens, whenever golf comes back together, LIV Adelaide, give me all the top players at LIV Adelaide, and we're talking about an event that would feed families. It would be generational. It'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, LIV Adelaide is you look at the scores just during the week, like Eject City, and then there's some birdies. It was awesome to watch. I mean, if you're watching it on tape delay or watching the highlights, however you were watching it, it was a great watch. And I love the around the green situation there. It's awesome to watch. And I mean, to Joaco's credit, to Brendan Steele's credit, to Taylor Gruch's credit, those are 3 guys who when they're hot, they're flushing. So LIV Adelaide brings out the best in the flushers.
My biggest thing, like, that is annoying, I feel like, with how the quote-unquote golf media, I get it. They're not going to give LIV any due. That's been decided long ago. My biggest issue with this event specifically, and giving it absolutely no credit, love, commenting whatsoever about it, is what do we see about every golf course ever? And then the golf, architecture community and the consigliaries of the world declare, want to know what's the best golf courses? The ones with no rough and runoff areas around the greens and rejections around the greens, and you got to chip. And that is LIV Adelaide. Like, the course is, if you could go into the brains of all of the golf media who declares what's a perfect golf course, I think they're describing the course that they play at LIV Adelaide. Yeah. And for there not to be a single comment about that, it's just like, don't tell me that you care about golf or like golf that much if you can't at least say the course is sick that they play at LIV Adelaide, because it's exactly what people want.
100%. It's a tough test off the tee. You got to make sure you're hitting the ball in the. It's like some shots are super tough visually, at least from TV. And then once you're in the fairway, you pull it, you push it a little bit. Reject City. It's not quite Pinehurst, but like, you're having a tough, tight chip to a extremely firm green. So there was guys going back and forth, like chipping it over, chipping it back over. Like DJ got in the mix and extremely ejected because you just chip back and forth. It was, I do like LIV Adelaide. Like, I mean, I like every LIV event, but LIV Adelaide is great.
And now for the flip side, where the dumb stuff happens, I can't do. When I've got a guy in the mix and we're showing every shot from the team leaderboard over the guys who are mixing for the individual title. Like, I've asked many times for this to be improved. I'll ask again. Like, I will sit here.
Who won the team? I honestly don't know who won the team.
Fireballs.
Oh, Fireballs.
We thought the team market was murked and that it was over because Legion was going to win every single time. I think Legion was second. But Fireballs, I wonder what their odds were, because I'm sure the odds shifted considerably after Legion dominated Rio.
When I looked on week 1 of LIV and I was going to bet the team market, the Fireballs were like 5.5 to 1, so they're probably close to 7 this week. So shout out Fireballs. Great win for the Spaniards or the
What's
Latin guys.
yeah, they because they were showing so much of the team competition, our boy Luis Mazaveo, the young amateur who recently joined Fireballs, was getting a lot of coverage because he was kind of under the gun, which is the sick part about the all four scores counting, is like even he's got to play well. But we got to see a lot of Luis, which was nice. He was
Wait,
not
what
wearing.
team is Kachara on then?
He's off. He's out.
He's out. Is
Quit.
off live?
Yeah, remember he left and then he made some statement about how like Liv didn't do what they told
Oh
him to
yeah,
do and
fuck.
like all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so he's
Ball
out.
knowledge for me.
He's
Damn, that
done.
sucks.
What is your State of the Union on Joaco? Because now when he wins on Liv, some of it's deserved, but some of it, like I said, is just everybody hates Liv. It doesn't count. Like he's not good. Yada yada. We've seen Joaco at Boots. We see the talent every single time. He looks better than pretty much everybody else at Boots every single time. Then he never mixes in majors. He was going to win Troon until he ejected on the postage stamp. That was nice to see him at least playing better in a major for a little bit. Truly generational striper.
Yeah.
And he also, when he's under the gun, he doesn't back up. He continues to stripe just as hard as he does. It comes a question of if he makes some putts, but like under pressure, as soon as he gets near the lead, nothing changes. Joaco looks the exact same as he always does. Can he get into the mix at the majors this year? Is he permanently going to be just good on Liv and he can't do it on the big stage? What's going on with Joaco as we head into major season?
Yeah, I'm not one of those Joaco major truthers, but the groupthink is Joaco in majors is horrible. I think he's 26 years old. He is so young. He's going to have so many more opportunities, and he is a generational talent. Like we've obviously seen him a ton of times. He will mix in majors. We've called out guys not who are guys who don't mix in majors to have that one performance the last few years, and they've gotten to the mix. They played well in majors. So is it going to be this year? I guess we'll have to see. We got some time to decide on that, but I do think Joaco will have that top 10, have that top 5 in a major sooner than maybe most people are thinking.
I'll have my eyes on Joaco at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. I think that is a course where Joaco should have some success. But yeah, I wanted to give Liv the credit that it's due. We love golf. We'll watch any tour. We'll watch DP. We'll watch Liv. We'll watch the PGA, and we'll give credit where credit's due. And we
LPGA.
Absolutely the LPGA and
Liv
out the Asian Swing. Yep, Asian Swing this week on the LPGA. So get excited for that. But yeah, good event. Like I said, the golf course is exactly what every person declares is the best type of golf course. And it is. Like, I agree with that. And it's fun to watch. And it was fun to watch. I wish more people would give it the time of day. Next few live events, we will not be giving as much credit to. I believe we've got Hong Kong and Singapore coming up next, which don't quite scratch the itch like Live Adelaide did. But Jers, Mexico. Oh, actually, screw Mexico. Kenya Open week. Kenya Open. We're not even going to talk about Mexico on the pod. You can go to the site. Okay, just kidding. We'll start with Mexico, but we need to be quick because we need to get to Kenya. I think it's probably one of the most obvious golf courses to handicap of the entire year. You mixed last year with Sammy Valimaki. I think I didn't mix last year, but EVR got off to a great start last year. He won the tournament in the first round. I think I mixed the year before. I can't remember who I had. But what are you looking for as they head down to Vedanta World, no longer just Vedanta?
Yeah, everyone's going to be on the same 5 guys this week. The guys who played well at Torrey Pines, and it makes sense. Like Torrey Pines, as in the farmers, the young bucks who drive it mega far and get hot with the putter. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for those guys this week, but maybe not the obvious 5. Find a few contrarian, because you look down this odds board down this field. There's definitely guys who fit that mold who might not jump out to you on first thought. So just get on the tee and swing as hard as you can. That is the handicap for the week. Yeah,
I think I'll put it this way. The most likely path to winning the tournament is absolute nukes off the tee and then being pretty good with your irons and your putter. Not amazing, but
Jake Knapp he gained a ton on approach last year, but it was because he hit the ball so far and he had like wedges and short irons in the club. So set yourself up for that with the just hitting it 800 yards.
Exactly. Yeah. Distance plus solid approach, solid putting. That is like the most likely path. Now, with that being said, anyone can play good at this course. There's no, if you're good with your long irons, then you can make up for a lack of distance because there is still a lot of testing. It's not, I mean, it's a birdie. It's not quite a birdie fest. It's also not a hard
It's not
tournament.
like minus 25.
It's like somewhere in between where there's enough like challenging iron shots that you can get yourself in some trouble no matter how good you drive it. So you can't just win the tournament by driving. But I wanted to say that like we look at this leaderboard from the last few years and guys were up there. I mean, Valimaki's not a bomber by any stretch of the imagination. He hits it like fine off the tee, but CT Pond was there. Justin Lauer was there. The year before, we've got guys like B. Woo, generational driving performance, hit the most fairways that anyone's ever hit. Akshay's there, Cole's there. So, like, yes, is distance for sure the most likely path? Yes. Is that where I'm going to be looking mainly? Yes. But if you like a guy and he doesn't have distance, to me, that's not something you can just like cross a guy off for.
Yeah, this is definitely like a go with your gut, bet your guys week. This was also one of the events that was made me the most upset when Jake Knapp got out of jail 10 million times on Sunday last year. He did not hit the ball well enough to win a golf tournament, but he did. So yeah, you can be a little loose this week if you want to.
And I think we talked about this last weekend's pod. You asked me when was the last time chasing a number worked because we didn't want to chase the numbers at Torrey, which I will say another plus on the Ludwig victories. I'm really glad that it happened, as we talked about it, at the bottom of the trough on the downswing of the Lud hype. This wasn't 8-1 Lud winning some of the better 12-1. It was an example of the type of bets that we advise making, the not chasing a number and putting it down the board.
Like this was like a true full circle moment because we talked about on Torrey pod, the Farmers pod. Let's hope Lud plays okay, and then the number drifts and everyone's out, and it happened like perfectly as we drew up. So that was definitely pat ourselves in the back for that. That was a good call.
One question actually I forgot to ask earlier. Do you regret? I mean, not regret because a win's a win. You went to the without Scottie market. There were some haters on YouTube saying that that's a terrible bet. I decided to YOLO it, but most of the time, even in the final round when Scottie was playing good and Mav was playing great, I was like, I really wish I had without Scottie right now. What is your official feeling on the without market? Do you wish you had just done it straight? What are you going forward? What's the state of the union on the without?
There's give and take to it. So if I would have bet the normal market, there was a real world I would have bet Maverick McNeely at 55-60-1 because it gave you a great report, gave everyone a great report on Maverick. And going without Scottie, obviously I have to bet less guys because the numbers are way shorter. But there was also a point on Sunday when it was Maverick McNeely 1, Scottie Scheffler T2, Ludwig Oberg T2. And then on the weekend, going into the weekend, Scottie was right there at second place. Ludwig was right behind him. So, it feels good having a ticket for an outright where, the amount of runner-ups that you and I have betting golf, like I felt kind of comfortable with. Like I was like, all right, like we just got to beat. And I was tracking the leaderboard all week when Scottie was up there. I'm like, oh, there's only like 2 guys ahead of us, like 3 guys ahead of us. Like we're right in a great spot, and Ludwig can easily finish second. So, it was the first time I did it. I thought I liked it. Obviously, I would have been not upset if Maverick would have won because I didn't bet him, but it's just a decision that I had to make because I could bet less guys in that market. But I don't regret it. So I think I could go back to it in the future. Maybe Bay Hill. We'll see going forward.
Because obviously I'm always, if one of my guys isn't going to win, I'm obviously rooting for you or Vincent to get a guy over the line. And it fucks with my mind a little bit because when I'm watching, for some reason, I always just think of if like Lud in that situation is ahead of Scottie, he's winning. Like my brain just does that for some reason. Like, but then I forget that, actually he needs to win the tournament now if he's ahead of Scottie. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but does that ever happen to you when you're watching and I'm like, oh, he's ahead of Scottie, like he's winning? And then it's like, no, this isn't the point of this.
Yeah. So it ended up working out, but Definitely an interesting sweat, and it's a sweat that you never feel like quite out of because the amount of backdoor runner ups that have no chance of actually winning the tournament that we get is kind of a cool feeling. So maybe more to come in the
I
future.
mean, I would have loved to have without like the big guns market with Mav because it would have been a shoe in. So
Yeah,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it without a doubt. Oh, we always get off track, but we remember things when you talk about quick 30 seconds on Rory's performance. Uh, he couldn't putt. The man in he couldn't putt, and then I saw some tweets. Somebody yelled out something about his caddy, and he was freaking out. Why does Rory defend Harry so much? His
yeah,
Rory?
he's funny.
Do you think Rory's at least considered the fact that Harry could actually be part of the problem? Do you think he, like, why he defends him harder than anyone defends
Hard,
anyone ever?
hard.
But
Yeah.
he legitimate. We go to the boots, we see it. Like he doesn't give anywhere near the effort of the other caddies. That's why I'm saying this. If I had no additional information, I'd be like, whatever. But like we see it with our own eyes. Why does he defend Harry so bad? Do you think he's ever considered other options?
A great question. I mean, like it's his best friend, so he's like wants him on the bag. He's gonna defend it what anyone says about him. But yeah, it was just funny that he just lashed out so hard. You're probably so out on Rory. I have two takes kind of, and this is probably the right take that when he plays with Scottie, his mind is just in a pretzel. He doesn't quite look like the alpha dog. He doesn't walk with the confidence, walks with his head down a little bit. But from a straight up like golf performance, I think he's fine. He hit the ball well, drove it phenomenally. Bad putting on tough greens. That will happen. I mean, there's a point where Rory's going to have his worst putting week ever. And it happened. Like, he'll bounce back on the greens. He just won on similar surfaces. So, like, no beef. I thought the driver was awesome. I think he'll be fine. And the wedge shots that were awesome. He hit some phenomenal flighted wedges. So, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
He needs a week where Scottie just has an off week, and I think he'll be fine. And in one of those majors, because Scottie didn't obviously quite mix in every single major last year, it's going to happen again this year. Scotty's not going to be T3 on Sunday. When that's the case and Rory's there, I think he'll get it done.
Yeah, I agree. I've got no beef with Rory's performance. I think it's easy to lose yourself on the POA, and then you just can't.
He just cannot be in a group with Scottie. If he's in a group with Scottie, forget it. Because that happened. I think he was grouped once or twice in a major last year, and I thought it was going to be a positive. Like, oh, he's going to be with Scottie. He's going to see what he needs to do. Nope, he cannot be in the group with Scottie.
The funny thing about that is I can't remember which hole it was. Maybe it was like 16. The way Rory was watching Scottie like tee off, he was watching him so intently, like he was witnessing. It's like when a like beautiful woman walks by. Rory was like captivated by like Scottie's tee shot on 16, and I was like, why are you looking at him like that? Like you can't be in awe of Scottie. You're Rory McIlroy. Like step up there. At that point, the tournament was obviously over for Rory. But either way, I thought the exact, just purely on how he was watching Scottie play. Like, why even watch it? Just look straight ahead. Be Rory. So yeah, and we'll keep tabs on that as they head into the Florida swing where he should be able to putt better. But Jers, the odds this week in Mexico, I've seen people saying like these odds are terrible, these odds suck, and I've said that before about events. But I'm starting to wonder, what does that actually mean? Because you don't have to bet Sam Stevens at 22-1. You don't have to bet Akshay Bhatia at 14-1. You don't have to bet any of these guys. You could just bet a bunch of guys down the board where the odds are, any of them could win, and you could take some shots down the board. Do the odds suck this week? What does it mean when the odds suck? Because I'm starting to wonder if I even know
I don't understand that. Like, I actually think these odds are good. Like, anytime the favorite starts at double digits, starts at 14-1. Like, you're gonna get good numbers down the board. That's DPAF. So yeah, like if Akshay Bhatia could be 10-1. Like, no, I wouldn't be that shocked if he was 10-1 in this field. Obviously, with Maverick withdrawing. So yeah, I think these odds are fine. You're gonna get some awesome value down the board at definitely line shop this week. Like, you got Taylor Montgomery, serious player at 200-1 with Tim Veeding. So you're gonna get some numbers.
Of the guys below 30-1, and I'll quickly say who those guys are: Akshay, Rasmus, Kurt, Sam Stevens, Mike Kim, who played well again at Torrey, PRodge off of the near miss, Harry Hall, Ryder Cupper, Taylor Moore. It's not a red state or a blue state, it's Mexico. Do you think Taylor Moore will be factoring in the current political situation, you got to factor that in as well. Potential trade war with Mexico, and then Steven Yeager. Those are the guys below 30-1. If you could have, or if are you considering any of those guys, and if so, who is at least going to be getting further attention throughout the rest of the week?
Definitely Yags. I like the Yags around 30. I think it's a fair number. Almost won here last year. Kurt almost won here in the past too. Those two guys, they fit the mold of style of golf we want here. I just can't trust Kurt like putting at 20-1, 22-1. I mean, I know it's only a few points, but I can get to Yeager around 30. I bet him last week. He made so many eagles.
He was chipping in like every hole.
I was like, Yeager, like this is just such a vibe. I never had a chance to win, but he had, there was like, I think on Friday he had like when it was really tough, he had a really, really good round when like everyone was like playing not great. So yeah, I like to think like Yeager here.
Your boys with the Stevens camp now. I would say you're in. Would you consider yourself in the Stevens camp?
Yeah, like they would say what's up if they saw me on the street.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the Steve? If you're in the camp, we need your opinion because you nailed Sungjae last week. I think the most successful Boots information last week was that Sungjae hates the conditions because course history truther at Torrey, but he played absolutely terrible because of the fact that he hates the conditions. What from inside the Stevens camp should we think at 22-1 this week?
I was like ready to fire on Sam Stevens this week before the odds came out, but I cannot bet a 22-1 Sam Stevens. I will say they are treating this event like a major. Like they want to win, which like I always want my guys.
Yeah.
I want my guys to be like want to win. Like I don't want a guy to like play for top 10. If you want to win, whether that I'm not saying they're going to win or going to play well. I'm saying these two have the mindset that they're good enough to win tournaments. They want to win tournaments. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not. I probably wouldn't bet it at 22-1. Probably wouldn't even bet it at like 25-1. But Sam Stevens and his team, they are confident and they want to win golf tournaments.
Of these guys, I'll agree with you on Yags would probably be the one that interests me the most right now. And then I will say, like, I can't bet Rasmus at 20-1, but Rasmus should have
honestly,
a field day.
Why not? Why can't you bet him at 21?
Because I'd rather bet Nikolai. I could bet both of them.
We're on Nikolai.
We'll talk Nikolai in a second. But yeah, I mean, I could. There's no reason why.
No, we can't bet both. Actually, I don't know. We can't bet both of them.
But
we know one of them will be DFL.
Rasmus will have one will be DFL and one might be first, but we don't know which one will be which. But like Rasmus will shoot at least one round where he gains the most strokes on the field that day. I don't know if it'll be the first round, the second round, the third round, or the fourth round. I don't know if he can do it consistently, but I think one of the days of the tournament, Rasmus shoots the low score of the day.
Yeah.
In the 30s, Rye, Haas, or Ben Griffin. It's past Palom, I believe, not Bermuda, so I don't know if that counts for BG. But any interest in them in the 30s?
Not really. Truthfully, no. I mean, Hoster will flirt with first round leader. Hoster will actually he's gonna have one of the low rounds too. Like we need these markets, like guys, to have one of the low rounds of the week. Raz will have one. Bo Hoster will also have one.
The next here, I'll give you two guys in the 40s who actually let me give you a few DP World Tour stalwarts that appear in this range of the board. They're all between about 40 and 60. Nick Norgard, 40-1. Thor Olsen, 45-1. Nico, 55-1. Matt Wallace, 55-1. Ryan Fox, 55-1. And then Michael Thorbjornsen, honorary DP World Tour member, 55-1. Who of those guys would give you some interest this week?
I think I want to go back to Nick Norgard, even though he hasn't played since the Farmers, which I'm not really sure why. Did he not get into these events? I mean, he's a member, whatever. Ryan Fox has not been playing well. I bet Thor at Waste. He made the cut, but nothing great. Saw good things from him. So I would say Thor and Nick Norgard would be my guys over here.
Who finishes higher between Alex Smalley and Kevin Yu?
Stripers. I would say Alex Smalley. Alex Smalley's on a generational run of striping.
Jake Knapp defending his title at longer odds than he won it the year before, which is always something that I note. I know you said last week, and this isn't new information from you, but you don't bet a guy to win back-to-back, like Rory back-to-back. Do you ever bet a guy to win the same tournament back-to-back, or is that also not acceptable to you?
No, I don't do that either. So Jake Knapp is definitely out. And I think he's not going to play well this week, honestly, because he actually has pressure. And Jake Knapp with pressure is a bad thing. So I'm going to be out on Jake Knapp. Fade in matchups.
Jesper Svens seems like a course he should thoroughly enjoy. Jers. Random Euro of the week. Jesper Svens 70. We got Vic Perez around 75. We got Matty Schmid around 90. We've got Christopher Ventura at season low odds for him of 100. And then, of course, there's going to be some additional random Euros of the week down the board. But when I saw the name Jesper Svens, I figured let's just do random Euro of the week right now. Who is your random Euro of the week at the Mexico Open?
I'm going to go with Jeremy Paul. I think Jeremy Paul could he made 2 or 3 cuts this year already, and he's down the board getting no respect. So Jeremy Paul can definitely shred.
And he just played golf with Devo's friend.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Factor that into your models. There's a lot of guys who, once you get over 60, I'm just going to list off a few guys down the board. I'm going to start around 60. They're all guys who hit it far. And
Chris Ventura, I forgot about him.
And people, obviously, like we said, the bias this week is going to be towards guys who hit it far. I agree that that's the right bias to have. So who of these type of guys, just based on the number, give me a under consideration, not under consideration. Patrick Fishburne, 65-1.
I'm out on Fishburne, but I think he makes sense. I'm just not a Fishburne guy. You are. I think he's gonna be popular, but you probably.
I'm only a Fishburne guy in the triple digits, so I'm out in the 60s on Fishburne. I will also note my golf comp Mac Meissner 65-1, and this is a type of course where golfing the way that I do works, right?
Yeah. No. Mac Meissner is my comp. You're Jacob Bridgman.
Oh, as I said, Bridgman and Meister are right next to each other in the odds, and I flipped them in my head. But yeah, Bridgman at 70-1, playing my style of golf. If he was ever going to do it, I can't think of a better course for him.
No, 100%. Yeah,
Bridgman. One who hits it fart, Aldi Potts. He's 80-1.
Most tipped.
So not in consideration.
No.
Who finishes higher between Rico Hoey, Chris Gotterup, and Antoine Rosner?
I would say maybe safe Hoey, Gotterup, Rosner, because this is just soft enough where Rico Hoey can actually win. Because everyone knows if the Baked Disco was a little bit softer, he was winning that with
just
ease.
A hair softer, not even if it was firm,
one rotation.
Yeah,
one rotation softer, he wins. So I would go Rico there, but I do like Gotterup as well.
Trey Mullinax is 90-1. He can hit it far.
Bomber. He hits it. Yeah. Can we look into Trey Mullinax? How did he play? Because I know he made the cut.
I wrote him up in the 6K range.
I know it was a good
at waist, and he finished T32, and he was T18 at the American Express.
Driver putter.
He can win. Trey Mullinax 90-1. Get your eyes on it. Of former winners, between Matt McCarty and Vincent Norman, they're at 110-1. Could either of those guys win the tournament this week?
Norman is swinging in the right direction. So yeah, and apparently Norman was extremely popular at Torrey Pines a few weeks ago, and he's hitting the ball really well. He had two really nice ball striking performances in his last 3 starts. So Vinny Norms can't putt right now, but I'm definitely in on him. He's hit it well here too. Vinny Norms could be on the C.
Back-to-back made cuts for Luke List, 120-1 PGA Tour winner multiple times.
We'd be I feel like he's a guy that we're not going to bet and then see him on the leaderboard Saturday at T7 and be like, why wouldn't we just bet Luke List?
Right. As long 120-1, back-to-back made cuts, driving it great again. He's going to gain infinity strokes off the tee, and he's putting well. So yeah, we got to give it. Here's my guy of the week, Jers. My random Euro of the week. I believe he's Australian, and my number 1 pick for the week, single bullet. Stanford golfer, Stanford legend, Corn Ferry Tour winner, in the top 50 of the dog rankings for a reason. Carl Phillips, Jers. I already bet him at 140-1 last night. I see that he's moved to 120, 110-1. So I'm not the only one who likes Carl this week, Jers, but I just want to announce that Carl Phillips, single bullet, is my bet this week. Generational bomber, talent for days. Carl Phillips. Is my
Yeah,
barely he's barely ahead of Celinda for me this week, but those two young guns, I couldn't ask for a better golf course for them.
he had to have been itching to make his PGA Tour debut, hoping that Nick Dunlap was in the field because he wants to one up Nick Dunlap in every aspect of life. The real ball knowers know why. So I'm definitely with you on Carl Phillips. Like, he's a stud. He's only 23 years old, and he's a name that people will be talking about maybe in the future. So get ahead of Carl Phillips. I think it's a great spot for him to make the cut, get in the mix, and better positional on him. Maybe you could probably find some nice top 20 value on him.
And when you say the future, you're not talking about like, oh, they'll be talking about him at the John Deere Classic. You're talking about in the history and the annals of the game, 5, 50, 100 years from now, they'll be talking about Carl Phillips is what you mean by that, right?
Yeah. I mean, KV is an absolute bomber. They teach the driver putter up at Stanford. So he knows what he's got to do this week.
A couple quick ones to finish out Mexico. You were on him famously in the Waste Management Phoenix Open. You saw potential from Davis Riley. He's a guy who can hit it anywhere off the planet. He's played well here before. I think he has a top 10 finish at this event.
The year Rom won.
400 to 1 Davis Riley. Just
400. I think my buy number with Davey Riley is around 1,000. So I'm probably out.
Imagine missing out on Davis Riley 400 to 1 because you set your buy number at 1,000 and then he hits it 400 to 1. That'd be pretty funny. There's another guy I saw down here. Oh, another guy you were on at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and another guy I think you've been on previously, Trevor Cohn and Jose Luis Ballester. Either of those guys.
I mixed so hard with Trevor Cohn at the 23 Barbie, and then he hit it OB, and Vincent Norman won that week, I think. He was 54-hole leader, played so well. Trevor Cohn is a good golfer, but I don't think he's ready right now.
The last guy I'll note is 1,000 to 1 Ryan Palmer. Just noting it. Just noting that Ryan Palmer is 1,000 to 1, Jers. You got to go in a second. You've got the TGL, but the Magical Kenya Open this week, Jers. Basically a major. Not basically. It is a major. It's Africa's major. It's a serious event. One of the funniest golf courses that's played for real money in all of golf. The fact that it is hilarious. Get your eyes on it this week. When you say positional, you're describing the course of the Magical Kenya Open. It literally
forget the Florida swing. The Florida swing.
Yeah, you could hit 8-iron off of the tee on most holes and still have a chance to win the tournament. Penal if you miss the fairway, Jers. The 18th hole is a par 5 in the fairways. It's kind of like the 1 yard fairway that the DP World Tour did when Tyrrell Hatton hit it. Like, that's kind of what the 18th fairway is like at the Magical Kenya Open. The favorite is, I think he's won here before, Jorge Camps, who the positional players of the DP World Tour. Everybody knows that about you. Who is jumping out to you? And I say that because you famously hit Dale Whitnell, the most positional of all the positional players on the DP World Tour.
I mean, shout out Eugenio's in this field, by the way. Eugenio's in this field.
Okay.
But he's not really a positional guy. This is a guy that I've hit before and at a great number. Like, this is a guy I bet at these numbers. Adrian Otegi, around 40 to 1. That's just a lock. You see him on my card a ton, especially on a golf course like this, and he will hit these tight fairways. And think of this course as you're playing your local track that costs you $27, and when you miss the fairway, when you're even in the fairway, it's like dirt and messy. You just never have a good lie. That is this course. So you just really want to hit your spots because there's very few good spots to hit off of.
Yeah, you need gumption this week because you're going to run into some things. You're going to hit a ball perfectly down the middle, and you're going to be hitting off of the most dirt patch you've ever hit off of into a green that's sloping away from you and like super firm, and a basically guaranteed bogey off of a perfect drive. I'll probably start my card at 100 to 1 this week. I might bet 30 guys at 100 to 1 because at the end of the day, legitimately anyone in the field can win this event because the off the tee is completely eliminated as like something that matters in this course. Minkyu Kim's 80 to 1. MK. Wanna who's going to mint fairways? Brandon Wu's 80 to 1. I get Brandon Wu at 80 to 1.
Mexico week.
On Mexico week.
It's on our C's.
That's all it takes for the DP. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
So he's got to be on there. I'm trying to look down here as well. David Law, he's a positional guy. Kinholt's positional. I was on Winther a couple weeks ago. He played fine. He's positional. Eddie Pep will finish top 10, but he will not win.
There's so many funny names down this board. Ashen Wu,
I
positional
hit him
guy.
here. I hit him
Yeah, I
here.
know. Ashen Wu.
Troy
Troy
Merritt.
Troy Merritt 110-1.
He's positional. Troy Merritt.
Dude, why is he playing this event?
I don't
Troy
know.
Merritt. Oh my god.
Troy Merritt.
Remember when Troy Merritt led the field off the tee at the 3M Open?
Remember when he won Pebble over Tom Hoge and Patrick Cantlay? I was on him. He.
Dude, what a week.
I had Cam Davis when he beat Troy Merritt. When I first got into betting and I bet Cam Davis at Rocket and he beat Troy Merritt, I thought Troy Merritt was like a generational golfer. I was like, this
What
guy
he
is
made did he make an ace?
Yeah, he did. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
speaking of aces, you can't complain about luck forever because I saw that there's only been 6 players in PGA Tour history to make a hole-in-one and win the event, and you have 2 of them. You have 2 of them. That's a fact. But yeah, Magical Kenya Open. I'll be probably just tailing. I need to tell. So I have to tell. Do you think I tell Vincent? Because before Cuddy Masters, I told him you need to bet more guys down the board on the DP. It's too volatile. Do I tell him to go even more volatile for the Magical Kenya Open?
Oh yeah, mega card for sure.
Jers, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations on Ludwig Bear. 2 winners for you now on the PGA Tour. Let's make it happen in Mexico. Let's make it happen in Kenya. Let's make it happen in the Asian swing on the LPGA Tour. Let's enjoy TGL. Let's just have a week.
Let's have a week. Ton of content on the site. You know where to find us. Let's keep winning.